Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and to another quick update on the development of the Shadow. I've been working on the industrial level assets for the past couple of weeks. A little bit on the level design and level design testing, lighting testing, some particle virtual visual effects, particle systems in Unity. I've been trying to optimize the system a little bit in a test environment that is always a little bit hard to do in game development because you cram so much into the actual scene that you would not have in that form in an actual level later on, at least not without trying to hide a couple of things here and there to save performance. Developing on a standard laptop that is about 2.5, 3 years old, to me makes a lot of sense, especially working with HDRP, because here I can develop the game towards it running at around 50 to 60 frames and achieving a really good visual look without the user later on having to scale everything down because it's not optimized at its best to its best. And if you develop on a system that is really like powerful and has a very strong graphic card and a very strong processor, yes, everything will run super smoothly, but especially right now with the OBS in the background screen recording, I always lose like 10 to 15 frames, sometimes 20 frames. But yeah, as you can see, I started out with like 50 to 60 frames and now it's down to 40, 45, 39. But that's normal. Yeah, that is expected to happen. The game right now usually runs with 50 to 60 frames, except for the really packed area that you will see in a bit, because the game editor is running the engine, the software is running in the background and what have you. So we get a little bit of a frame drop here, but that's fine. The system still runs pretty smoothly. So game development, yes. Okay, so the new game I'm working on, The Shadow, it has these huge industrial levels. So in the game, in the industrial levels, you're able to stock up your supplies that you need for your level progression, and to keep your vigilante kind of approach to life going over time. And the industrial levels, other than, for instance, the outside city levels, or the levels in the storage facilities of the government, or the scientific ones, which I will start working on in terms of level assets by the end of this week. I'm 3D modeling right now on a couple of smaller assets that I want to add to the industrial level still. But I'm almost done with all the industrial level assets, which is pretty cool. You saw the small video maybe that I posted about how I created those bridge elements that connect levels over vast chasms. This one is a section where I tested what the level would look like for the case that you transition between two larger areas in a level, one mission area, because in the industrial levels you cannot go around corners as in the outside levels or in other level types. The game here will focus far more on jump and run aspects, timing, traps, things like that. You can still hack into systems to reroute supplies from here to your hideout, or to find some additional information that will help you to unlock other levels. But you will be bound to one kind of area in this huge complex. So basically what will happen is that you return to this massive industrial complex over and over and over again and explore it further and further and further throughout the game. and find the one or the other secret project in here. But shh, no spoilers. So yeah, what I'm standing in front of right now is actually the entrance that I spoke about last time. I think at least these will connect different, pretty much like the elevator in the city elements. This one will connect the this part of the this part of the level, this height of the level to another above or below, where you can then continue your mission. The doors for that are not implemented yet, and I'm not coding anything right now because I really want to focus on getting the graphics done. Without having big delays, big breaks in between, and then getting back into the flow of things. What you see in the back there, the greenish element, that I'll show you a little bit later, that is a toxic waste dump. Of course, toxic waste, we all know that from games and cartoons and comics, always glow green. So very unhealthy, don't step in there. It will be part of a couple of time jump sequences and other things. That molten metal tube over there you already know, and I like the aspect that you can now see the depth and the scope of these things, and we will see more and deeper areas in the actual game later on. So let me introduce you to some of the new hazardous, dangerous threats that the player will focus. Speaking of which, I nearly jumped into the laser here. This is a laser cutter system. These laser cutter systems will cut anything in half that the fully automated system of the industrial complex here needs for production later on. That can be scrap metal, that can be metallic blocks, that can be and will be occasionally, of course, the player. So this system is modular. The rails at the top there can be extended, and I can make this thing longer or shorter depending on what I need in the actual game. The laser cutter system here, this is mobile. The laser emitter can move from left to right and back over a certain distance at various speeds. I can easily set that up in scripting to be very versatile, so that I can create new challenges with the same system. And in some cases they're stationary, and you don't have one but 3 or 4 of these emitters that are timed. So you also will have, let's say there's one on the left, one on the right, and one in the middle where the guy is standing right now. So these outer ones would be on, like this one. You jump into the middle ones when they're off, and then you stand in the middle. And when they go off, you have a little bit of time to quickly move your butt out of there, because otherwise the one in the middle burn you into several parts. All right, so you already know the molten metal element. That will also, of course, kill you when you step into it. The heat vent here, that definitely will also burn you to a crisp. This part, the small glowing element here, it's a bit hard to see now because of a lack of light. Let me try here we can see it a little better. So there's a sort of railing system that these elements move along, or are stationary depending on what their purpose is. And these will obviously be harmful for the player. They can emit a strong energy blast that fries the player, and they're used to galvanize metal elements. But hey, that is not really important for the gameplay. It's a nice thing to have explanations behind the different elements. On top of that is a thumper, or stomper. They are made to push things into form, including the player, of course, when he's unlucky and has bad timing and steps underneath it. There will be similar elements that I'm working on right now that will push you off the platform. And then now the way that the system usually works is certain elements will be delivered from these delivery elements here, machinery behind those walls, and then these things will be transported via the conveyor belts over here, and then these systems will kind of give you the idea that they are being worked on by these elements, and then they leave a certain part of the production process through these elements, the hydraulic presses, and be moved back into the system, and then be processed and what have you. All right, so so far I'm very happy with how this whole industrial level feel comes across. Little things here and there that I would like to change and will change, obviously. But so far it's going great. The scientific levels, the science labs that I will build from the end of the week onward will look very, very different because they will have more droids. These almost have no droids because everything is absolutely automated. It gives you a really different gameplay in the game. That is, I think, a very good thing, that not every level type plays the same way. Okay, let me show you the other elements that are new. Cool, let's take a look at the toxic waste dump. Alright, so here we are. As you can see, the stompers here are just waiting to crush you. That is the emitter for the toxic waste that will come out of the bottom here and then as a particle effect. And then elements will swim over here and be transported into the system and used for certain other things, but that will come later in the game and would be considered a spoiler if I gave it away now. Shadow running over it now, that will not happen, and they will not have a collider. Just put this in just for convenience sake. Once you step onto this, you will fall inside and basically dying a horrible death from toxic waste that glows green in the dark. The thumpers also will have different timings available, so that I will be able to set up a system of like those 3 here, and then you have to time running through them, or you have to turn them off if hacking is available in this part of the level for these elements. You will not be able to run past this element here. I have an idea for the player movement that I will try. It wouldn't be necessary for the game to work and fun as I intended it to, but maybe it's a cool thing to have it. I'll think about it and announce it in maybe a couple of weeks. It depends a little bit on how happy I am with the rest of the gameplay, and if I see if that effort of putting this new idea in would be justified. What you would use to move from here to here would be small platforms. Sometimes they're protected by a grating that the player can walk on, but in a lot of cases you will have like certain elements here that go up and down below the toxic waste surface, and you will have to time your movements accordingly so that you don't fall in or jump a certain distance and things like that. And then you would reach another exit to a different part of the level that you then can reach if you make it safely over the toxic waste dump. Cool. Okay, so far so good. There is a lot of stuff I still have to work on. In editor mode now, and as you can see, the industrial complex has walls and everything, so you really get that feeling of being inside a complex and not like as it's supposed to be in the urban city levels where you see the actual city in the background and its open skies. That is not the case here. So here you are in the belly of the beast. For the background elements, we have some simpler structures that show you this kind of metallic kind of structure that the whole complex consists of. Here the level ends, and here we have the city in the background of my test environment. These rail systems are modular as well. The end piece I have on the left and on the right, that is not added yet. Then there is the rail system, and I can extend those as much as I want to even have like one at the bottom, one here and one up, and have them run at different speeds. So you can again create some really nasty, tricky systems that the player has to get around or deactivate if he can. In some cases in the game, you can actually generate using supplies at your hideout certain hacking tools that allow you access to hacking stations that you normally would not be able to access, and then if you cannot hack them, you have to kind of jump and run your way around them. Yeah, I think that's it for today. It's been long enough already. Let me know what you think. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comment section. And please, please, please subscribe, like, share, tell your friends about it. And see you next time. Have a good one and bye bye.